Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I could have walked back that way. But it's like, I need to start walking home. Hey, Jens, how are you? I've just been trying to feel a little bit better. Who say what lie? Uh, a little bit. I've been trying to recover a little bit, and it's just, you know, fallen a bit into a depression again. And I'm just trying to be happier. Thank you. I think the hardest thing is accepting when life changes and you're not given any other options. Uh, I feel a little remorseful. That I was unprepared for certain things, and that I thought that I thought I had my I's and T's checked, but I didn't. And unfortunately, life moves on with you or without you. It's a sad reality. So, honestly, sleeping a lot. I've been sleeping a lot. I try to get my Elgato working. It's not working. You know, I know certain people that don't like me will always not like me no matter what I do. And it's just one of those things that I have to always keep reminding myself. And it's like, the world is a cruel place. You're not given any options. I haven't really been playing it a whole lot. I've just been too depressed to play it. That's the sad thing. I want to play it. To be honest, I would have liked it if I had it at launch. It cheered me up a little bit, but the problem is the Elgato. Like, that's what stinks, is like, we have 4 people watching, but no likes. Could we get the likes up? Um, I definitely plan on covering PAX. That's at least a good thing. I did technically get into New York Comic Con, but I'm kind of debating on if I even want to go. Yeah, I could play with him, but he's busy a lot. And it's one of those things where, Josh and I had a lot of fun hanging out. And I like Bo Blacks as a friend. And I keep saying that over and over and over again. Because I think some people, they took out of context what we did in shorts and such, and it was very playful, it was very tongue-in-cheek. And unfortunately, people liked putting on a certain drama spin on it. And I just think it's sad that we live in a world where we can't have certain friendships, and people were nasty about it. And, I don't really care if people want to have their opinions, but at the end of the day, it's like when people bully you of their opinions, and it's just like, this is unacceptable. So, but it is the world, and unfortunately the world is cruel. They'll say whatever they think is right, and unfortunately platforms basically use bullying as freedom of speech. It's the truth. It's the truth. I want to believe that there's been growth on the... How are you? I had to hear something really horrible. I called my parents the other day, and they said the reason why they never want me to drive because my father called me uncoordinated, right? The person that plays Dance Dance Revolution is uncoordinated. And you kind of look back at that and like, I'm not uncoordinated. You just don't want your kids to live their lives. And you want to give them every obstacle on top of their own insecurities to make it difficult for them to make their own decisions. That's the sad truth. And you can't even voice your opinion because you're told whatever excuse from them and you have to listen to it, even if it's wrong. You know, definitely better than California. I'll say this so far, I definitely feel safer for the most part here. There was a couple of news reports. We have 10 people watching, but 1 like. We can do better than that. So, you like my green flannel? It was a gift. Comic-Con will be in October if I do go. But, like, I'm really on the fence because my financial situation. Thank you, Clock. You were definitely, I have to say, Kalaka Boy, you were one of the bright spots of my California trip. It might not have made me famous or anything, but at least I didn't go hungry, and I had someone to talk to, and I didn't feel alone or sad, and I didn't feel hurt or abused. You know, I was streaming on TikTok a lot. Well, it's tough, Jens, because I don't really have a lot of money, and as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize, like, I don't have the stability. That's the problem. You know, I wish I had more positive people. I don't. Oh, great. Copyright music. I had a really fun date the other day. I should tell you. Yeah, Josh is technically a friend. Jen, it's gonna come to. I want to consider it. Oh, it does. It definitely gets my mind off things, but at the end of the day, it's like when you don't have money older, and nothing is as stable as I think it is. You know, when you're in, things are kind of just hand fed to you. The stream is lagging. There's nothing I. Yeah, you know, I gotta walk this way. So I have to get to Yesler. Yeah, I have to get further away from the coast. I forgot. So the coast is in that direction. I just wish I had somewhere to stay. That's the other problem, is I don't have anywhere to go if I stay in New York. I don't like buttoning all the way. Is that okay? That, like, yeah, I don't have money. I'm broke. and it's really tricky. Uber Eats delivery is not working. The app is failing. Um, no, he's not. I really don't want you to bring that name up. Sorry. That person will not help me. So, I appreciate you trying to look out for me, but they don't want to help. Most of that fan community wants me gone. It's just the truth of reality. So, at least I'm back on YouTube. Okay. No, I didn't go to Voodoo. I didn't go to Voodoo Donuts. I mean, the drama community has mostly left me alone. They've done their rumor mill for the past, like, I would say it was really like late July, early August, and they've left me alone. I was playing, let's see, what was I playing? Dance Dance Revolution on TikTok. I had problems trying to balance my camera. I didn't bring my tripod because I went without my stuff. I only have, right. I was actually given Donkey Kong, but the problem is I want that Elgato working, and I can't get the Elgato working, and I don't have anyone helping me. The drivers are fine. It's not the driver's problem. So, I'll think about it. I don't know if I'm going to go at this point. So, right? No, I don't think he's going to go. He said he's not going to Comic-Con. He told me himself. He's not going. That's fine. Yeah. At least this has been a drama-free stream. I think so. You know, I'll say this. This is the first stream I've had that's been without drama. So, that's a good thing. I'll take my wins when I get them. I think the sad thing is, the drama actually helped me get views. So, as much as I didn't really like it, there was a benefit. Okay, so, right. It's around Boren. All right. So are you going to New York Comic Con? Do you live in New York, gents? You did? Okay. Did you bring your 3DS? You know, I held the Street Pass event. Well, if you didn't buy your tickets, you might not be able to go. You know, I want to enjoy it, but the problem is my Elgato. So I want to enjoy my Switch 2, but it's like, you know, when you're a YouTuber, you feel like you can't enjoy your games because you feel like you always have to be making content. That's the thing that sucks. You know, I don't like that about YouTube some of the time. So you have to be a hybrid earner. You can't really make enough money on YouTube. You have to have a real job. And I've been out of like regular work for almost a year at this point. And it's not good. You know, I probably would not have left my airport job if, right, if the management wasn't bad, if the lack of, there's just a really like, you really had to have this like boomer mentality where you had to put on the bootstraps every day. And for a while it was fine. And then after a certain point, I started to lose it. Like, it's like, imagine doing a job. Yeah, I had a job at an airport. I was a PSA, I was a passenger service assistant. And definitely the hardest part is dealing with the passengers. So, and like, you had to push people that were very rude and fussy, and you had to be like within this certain mindset of dealing with people. And the only thing that made it easy was if you got good tips, but if you didn't, it definitely felt like a kick to your face. It made you feel like you didn't matter, is the problem, especially with that job. You know, it just would have been nice to feel like you matter. It's like the worst part about that job. You know, I have people that don't dislike me, believe it or not. I do have people that are like, you know, the sad thing was though, San Diego definitely changed a lot. That was the hardest part. Like, you know, I made some friends in San Francisco. I actually did. I made some friends. You know, I made a couple of friends. I had Peter. I just didn't like that there was that one fussy person in someone's video, and they said, "Oh, Nick's clearly lying. He clearly has a place to stay." Da 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 da. I was like, "How do you know that? Where's your evidence?" And it's just like you're reading their evidence, and it's like, no, it's BS. It's like, the sad part is Peter didn't want to get involved in content creation, so that meant that I had to basically, it was like the same problem with Mike, who gave me the money for the first Switch console. I had to just tell people, like, I'm sorry, this person wishes to remain anonymous. So it basically forced everyone to just slash at me, and I couldn't do anything. Honestly, no. He said to me that he would never date me, and that if we ever met up again, it'd only be for a certain type of fun, which I can't say on YouTube or TikTok. So you can imagine what that is. He said I was attractive, at least, but then he just said, "Yeah, I only find you fun in the." So, yeah, it's tough when. It's tough when people don't like you and you feel excluded. Oh yeah, you like that? Me too. No, I thought that was funny. Custody fighter. Yeah, no, I thought it was funny too. That's true. Well, I'm glad you don't see me that way, Kalaka boy. I'm glad you don't see me as an object of affection. So, but I know you don't think I'm bad looking either. So, hey, at least I'm good for something, right? Yeah, I dated a Chinese guy in San Francisco. He, I messaged him on one of the apps, and he said to me that he would no longer like to date me or pursue me, and that if we met again, it would only be for one type of activity. And again, you can guess what type of activity that is. Yeah, that's what it is. I like cherry coke. You're welcome. So, I went to my old workplace in Seattle. Well, that's the only way I can view the world, unfortunately, Jens. Which other hot guy? You mean the one guy in Los Angeles, or that was a one night stand? I hate using that term, but that's what it was. I met him. We had talked for years, and he was like, that's how a lot of people are. So, yeah, people don't really know about this if you are a male interested in other men. They view you as one thing, and that's it. And it's just like, if you did them in anything else, good luck. What did Kalaka Boy say? I want to see that. I'm seeing a lot of back to school signage. I remember hating that when I was a kid to enjoy my summer vacation. I start to miss that. Like, to be honest, like, when I hit high school, I definitely felt like I hit a certain stride in my life where I felt okay with going back to school. But maybe that was just me as a teenager. So I start to miss some of those years. But maybe it's just because it felt like it slipped by away. Was he? Actually, he was. Actually, he was. There was a post. It was AI-ified. It was me and him and my friend Peter let us borrow his apartment for the night. And Tom and I, we had a picture in Peter's bed. That was it. Although I know some people hate hearing that, it's just the truth. So it was nice to date a guy that I don't normally date, and he was just so wonderful and so nice. But I know he doesn't want me. I did go to college. I did. Right. I think I've told this story, but I'll tell it again. So I went to a degree in culinary nutrition, and the program was fine. There's things I would complain about because everything. Look, no matter what school you go to, there's always going to be complaints. A lot of the teachers like to play favorites. I think if I could say anything, if I could say anything positive about that program, if you have to devote your 4 years to anything, you could do a lot worse. But some of those teachers at that school, I would not recommend. They had a very totalitarianism approach, and if you weren't prepared, they were not nice to you. And it was just one of those, like, when you go to culinary school, it basically feels like you're going off to war. Like, it definitely is a program where you have to wake up, you have to put on the chef's uniform, you have to put on their thing, and you have to go to the teacher and be like, yes, professor, yes, chef, and you have to address them, and you have to be very well ironed and everything. And I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but it's what it was. No, the cooking was fun. That was very tough because I was not a very good cook when I started, and I got better. I'm a little out of practice now, so it's like if you ask me to make bull beignets, I'd be like, I can't do that. Like, I can make some things like stir fry or like macaroni and cheese. I know that's easy stuff. I'm trying to think what I did make. I made this red curry carrot soup that was really good. I actually got it from Top Chef. What was really sad was when I made it, and the person that I made it for told me I wasn't a chef, and they made it, and they said, "Oh, maybe you are a cook after all." And then they saw it on Top Chef. They're like, "You got it from here. You didn't come up with the idea." And I was like, at the end of the day, everybody has inspirations for something, and there's nothing wrong with something becoming popular and taking that idea and making it your own. It's like, it's not like I presented it as I made this recipe. It's more like I made this dish. It doesn't have to be my own. It's like if someone makes banana bread, right? There's just certain things you put in banana bread, like bananas, and someone can't be like, "Oh, your banana bread has bananas in it, like my banana bread." That's copyright. Like, no. Like, I mean, I would have. I made pancakes. I actually did make those pancakes. So the ube mache pancakes, those are not bad. Yay, stream. I know we're back. So, as far as like things I want to say in the stream, because I will be talking. I'm speaking, but I'm listening. I do want to have a new Discord, but if I make a Discord, I don't want people to be negatively speaking about me. It's not that I can't handle criticism or anything like that, but it's like if someone speaks about me, about something I did or whatever that's already been done and dealt with, it's like, I'm sorry, but this person is an adult, and yeah, I'm still gonna make a paywall. Honestly, I kind of have to. And to be honest with how things are in the world, to be honest, like, this was Good Vibes Gaming problem. They made a free Discord, and the trolls ran in and started bombarding, and it's like, that was the issue with even me. Like, I got trolled, and I can't handle that. Like, right, I'm being fair. Like, to be honest, like, I'd rather put a fair paywall and just be like, yeah, I did watch it. Yeah. I'm actually going to be playing at PAX West. So, that's good for something. At least I get to do something. Oh, I know, that's ridiculous. To me, like, I don't want to charge an extreme. The only way I would charge that much, I want to think. If I was going to charge that much to have someone play with me, I'm trying to think. If I was going to go out that way. I know that there's an age-old saying where if someone is going to charge a price and someone will pay it, they will. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm going to charge that much money for someone, no, and I know he has a tier called BFF where it's $500, and I'm like, who the hell's paying him $500 a month? Like, I just think about that, and it's like, I'd rather pay my month of rent for $500 a month than pay him $500 a month. That'd be a no. So, did I tell you he tried to hit me with a copyright? Dude, this is the funny thing, right? He sent me a personalized email. He sent me a personalized email telling me that I didn't have permission to speak about him. And I just thought about that, and I was like, I don't like it when people speak about me, but if you're going to do that, then I'm going to slap the same rule on you. And that's what I did. And he just shut up real fast. And I thought it was funny because it was like he couldn't stand someone that didn't agree with him. And it was just like, the sad part about the internet is there's always going to be negative opinions about someone, no matter how good, right? No matter how good they are. So I gotta make a video about Paper Mario music. Honestly, I kind of want to age gate my Discord to 18 plus at this point. Like, I know with YouTube, like, you can't, like, gatekeeping age is hard to do. So, what was really interesting was when I heard a video criticizing that only certain types of people can like Nintendo, and I was like, no, anyone can like Nintendo. You don't have to, like, I don't like some of the gatekeeping. I know someone made a joke about me gatekeeping certain thing for someone, and the funny thing about that was when I said that, what I meant was that community will gatekeep you. Like, that's how that works, right? Like, if you want to enjoy Nintendo, anyone can join Nintendo. There's no restriction to enjoying a product. However, hanging out with certain people, yeah, they'll arbitrarily put their restriction on you. It's just how people are. To be honest, like, Jens, even when you're on a platform like YouTube, you do have to be careful about what you say and how you say it. Because, look, I'm an adult that enjoys video games. There's nothing wrong with an adult being able to enjoy what they enjoy, right? I think anyone can agree with that. But at the end of the day, if someone is going to say that person can't enjoy that product and they're also an adult, you just look at it and you're like, no, that's a poor man's argument. And not only is it a poor man's argument, that's just garbage. So, I'll try to hit an hour on here. Nebraska. I appreciate Kalaka Boy for coming on. You know, that's a fascinating thing. I'm terrible at using Discord, to be honest. I'm not very good at it. So, I know people that will not be on my Discord, that's for sure. Oh my god, Vinny to the K! Thank you for coming back. That makes me feel a lot better. You know, I feel really bad about what happened over the past couple of months with my mental health taking a hit and everything, but, you know, being at that launch line really felt like a sucker punch to the face because, you know, I did my best to get my spot, and I was supposed to be first, but I didn't end up being first, even though I was the first one waiting. And it just stunk because it was just like, I had to get like sucker punched in the face and in the back. So it's just depressing when, you know, you think you'd have your moment and you waited 8 years after you got humiliated, only to get humiliated again. And you're just like, well, now this just leaves me at another crossroads. Do I try to keep working harder to hope for another moment 8 years later? I basically have to play it off like Kendrick Lamar. Well, you know, my community's here. Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. So, there's definitely some problems afoot, where if I do that again, it's like, I have to basically sell my firstborn. And I don't even have kids. So, Yeah, I'm ready for PAX. I mean, at this point, I'd rather go than not go. At least it's something for me to be happy with. Also, I might be going to another Teddy Swims concert, so that's good. I'll take it. I do have to be careful though, because I'll just never forget when I wanted to go to that Teddy Swims concert in San Diego, and they're like, "You got to throw that away. You got to do that. You got to do that." And they, I didn't like the staff there. But what was funny was they had a no selfie stick rule, and this little kid runs in with their selfie stick, and I'm like, I noticed a draconian rules for thee, not for me kind of clause, where that person's literally running in with their selfie stick, but I have to tuck my selfie stick into my pants and not have it out in public. It just really like baffles my mind, right? Yeah, I hate that. Like, was the show excellent? I give it a 9 out of 10. Like, I would give his performance perfect, but I did want to meet him. I'm not going to go back and saying I did want to meet him. And that I could probably go to. I could probably go to David Vink's panel, but what I probably will have to do is dress up. Maybe. Alright, we're having an increase in viewership, so I appreciate that the trolling and the bullying has gone down. I don't know how long I could have taken it for months. And I notice it like less and less as time goes on. Oh, Waldorf school. No, I don't know how I want to do that. Like, honestly, right. I think I told you how David Vink and I ended things off last year. I told him a particular scenario I was going through because of speed running, and then he just abruptly blocked me, and it felt very Mean Girls. Like, it just was very disappointing of him, because it was like, I would have thought, and just because of the way David is out of all of the people I've met on YouTube, right, that he would have the courage, the balls, the gusto to tell me, Nick, we have to part separate ways. Nick, I'm really sorry, but I don't see things panning out. But it's like, the fact that people play this, like, blind man's ghost game of like, oh, I don't have to like them. Well, let me just make it easier. It's like, look, if you can't tell the person, if you can't be a human being and tell the person what the problem is and stand up for yourself, then you're a weak piece of, in my, I know on dating apps it can be different depending on the scenario. Like, it can be a little like 50-50. High tails. So, we got 20 more minutes to the hour. So, well, you're gonna have to pay $5 for it. You're subscribed to David Vink. I liked him and I watched him and I actually donated to him when I had my airport job. And the funny thing was, like, when he blocked me, I was like, well, that's $2 I don't have to give you every stream. So that was the funniest thing to me, was when, well, I just think the thing with David Vink is like, it's like, if you're going to be friends with someone and your friend is going through some kind of trauma, there's a better way to handle it than to abruptly block them. And I just think if someone's going through something and they're handling, like, when I was going through the speedrun stuff last year, it's just like, look. And David Fink has gone through drama too, so he has his own drama. He's not perfect. Like, nobody's perfect. That's nice, Tails. Good for you. So, honestly, the only thing I take away from him is he's a buff guy that has nips and he has, like, you know, a freaking low-cut shirt. And it's like, are his narrations from time to time funny? Yeah, not bad. I mean, I could think of worse people I could tune in. I'd actually rather watch him over H-Bomber Guy. I find H-Bomber Guy kind of irritating. Like, you kind of find how divisive some of these, like, YouTubers are. You had friends. Listen, I've had friends who left me when I was going through. Yeah, you definitely learned that through the years we needed the K. Remind me this. Did you ever play Dead or Alive Dimensions? I kind of remember if it was you and you were struggling. Were you struggling to, was it you? Because you were struggling to play Dead or Alive Dimensions. And, well, if I make rules, like, one, you can't negatively speak about me. If you have to address something, I'd rather you address it privately. Here's a big thing I want to make a rule in the Discord. Because we had this problem in 2024. If you're going to say something negative, at least pair it with a contrasting thought. Because if all you're going to do is like, I hate this, hate, hate. It's like, there's enough disgust in the world. And it's like, if you're going to hate something, at least offer a counter argument or something that, it's like, I'm trying to think, like, if you hate AI, could you at least, like, proposition a beneficial way other than I hate AI? Because if all you're going to say is I hate AI, well, you know what? The taxi cab companies hate Lyft and Uber. And that destroyed their market. So, you know, I don't like where the future's heading half the time myself. But at the same time, it's like, you know, we live in a world of uncertainty. You don't know where your next paycheck is. You don't know where your next house where you're going to sleep in. Could you at least, like, try to be a little positive about the world instead of just focused on everything that's negative? Because if all you can do is focus on something that's negative, then really, like, what are you living for? And that's my biggest complaint. It's like, okay, you don't like AI. I heard what you said the first umpteenth million times. Could you please say something else about, like, because, you know, AI exists more than what we know it as today. I mean, AI exists in games through CPUs. AI exists in algorithms, how games are, like, you know, programmed. And obviously that's different AI than what people are thinking of AI, like the AI art. But I think with AI art, you're really just talking about having something that's more at your fingertips versus, like, but, you know, like, and with AI, like, there are just certain things that AI will not do as well as others. And it's like, you know, you can't, like, I've tried using AI, and there are definitely flaws in it, but at the same time, it's like, what do you want? So, I can't believe I managed to hit, what time is it? I mean, to be upfront, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened now. People are using AI to make games. And to be upfront, like, you know, I think the thing with AI that is good is it can really stimulate the brainstorming process. So, look, it's like using ChatGPT, right? Like, using ChatGPT is only good for, like, propositions and really knowing, like, a bare minimum nuts and bolts about a topic. it's not right. Like, it's not gonna like educate you on everything. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's like it can show you a template or a formula. It's not gonna tell you necessarily, like, I mean, it can give you some directives, but it doesn't mean, like, as far as your decision making, what to do. So Jose soon. That's nice. Have I been to Nintendo of America yet? Not yet. I might go tomorrow. So we'll see. I will have to bike out there. It's far. I want to say it's like 13 miles, maybe 15. And then it's like there's a bit of like, if I get there. I thought we went up to 9 likes. Well, I think the thing is, Jens, that the problem with Nintendo, and I honestly have to assign the accountability to Doug Bowser, is that there's not... it's like when I look back to what he said about the Switch 2, all I heard was a businessman saying, "Why the product? The product is what we sell." And that's it. And it's like, you listen to that and you're like, Doug, could you step out of your own corporate and actually open your mouth? Sell out? Like, I'm sorry, like, there's, I don't think Switch 2 is necessarily a bad console, but we definitely haven't seen, like, the Donkey Kong game looks great. I think I like the... Oh yeah, I wish too. Like, my problem is, like, I just want someone who's actually enthusiastic about playing and selling games. I don't get that from him. Does anyone think Doug Bowser's, like... I just want to say that straight to his face. Like, does anyone think Doug Bowser's actually enthusiastic about selling in games? Like, right? And I'd be like, if you don't think so, say I. Like... Well, I think the problem was when you're talking about changes in management, you don't always get what's the best environment in life, and you kind of find that the hard way. And then when you don't have what worked so well, you start to really miss what worked so great. Well, I don't know if Reggie did choose Doug. Do we even know that's like do we know like it's an article? Like I want to see that. I want to see the source for that. So if someone's gonna say something like that, I'm like, cite the source. Yeah. I don't think it would have been Reggie alone. I would have imagined that Reggie more so would have announced it, but not announced it as in I picked him. If he said I picked him and you have his exact words, then I might buy it. But sadly, I almost start to see like, was it because of the fact like... So I see like attempts that Doug Bowser wants to be a good boss, and I think he has a family. So he obviously understands that certain demographics that are younger enjoy video games. And I understand that, but at the same time, it's just like, again, when he goes in the interview process, it's just so out of touch. You think someone in Japan makes decisions? Right. It's usually how that happens. If you ask me, I'd rather go back to the 90s and 2000s of Nintendo. That was my favorite. Like, I really enjoyed the GameCube era. That was when I was in high school. So, I definitely want to play some Soul Calibur 2. Like, I definitely want to get that. Right, no. But the thing is, like, remember, the point of Nintendo of America, this is something you have to remember. The point of Nintendo of America is they're the branch that sells the games in the States. So the only thing that, like, I think, if I remember correctly, I'm 1,000% sure that Bill Trinan does the localization for quite a bit of games. Like, he works on some, or he did used to. I know he's a VP now, so... You know, they had to, because they had to make a... I think if, you know, when you're talking about any company, the sad thing is they have to do whatever it is to stay financially afloat. And GameCube, that era sold poorly. Like, it's barely better than the... Actually, no, it is definitely better than the Wii U. But, you know, Nintendo 64 did fine, but they did kind of take a bit of a back seat in that generation. I guess it's 6th generation? Nintendo 64 is 6th generation, right? Or is it 5th? I mean, I love my Nintendo 64. I'm all about the same. Yeah. You know, I think the Genesis outsold the SNES. SNES is classic. Like, you know, when you talk about SNES, I think of Donkey Kong Country. I think of Super Mario World. I think of Link to the Past. I think of... Yeah, well, they already have. Like, I'm not even surprised. Well, we got to... Oh, I thought we got 9 likes. I'm disappointed. You know, I'm really happy that this stream we're actually talking about gaming. And it's not drama related. Oh my god. Can you believe it took like 2 months for us to move on from drama? Hey, I didn't get to see you when I was in San Diego. I'm sorry. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I remember that. And 3 is actually 6. Yeah, I remember that. You know, I actually did play 6 on the SNES Classic system. And I have to say, I really enjoyed 6. Like, it's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but I can absolutely, like, stand by why people love 6. Like, 6 is a great game. Like, Kefka's a fantastic villain. He's very cold, he's very brooding. You know, he starts off as a joke, but he really evolves. That's what I liked about it. Like, I like a game, especially with an RPG, because RPGs are about storytelling, right? So it's like you want there to be character growth. You don't want someone to be powerful out of the gate. You want them to gradually get scarier as they go on. And that's what makes Kefka such a great villain. Like, I mean, I like 9, but if I had to say who I prefer... If you ask me who I preferred better, Kuja or Kefka, I prefer Kefka. But Kuja's not a bad villain. Kuja definitely feels very Kefka-y, but, like, Kuja already starts off as a powerhouse. And, like, I'm trying to remember that one scene in 9, when, like, he gets, or Queen Braum uses, like, the Eidolon on him, and he laughs at getting blood on his face, and he just, like, casts the strike and kills Queen Braum. So I remember that. I will say the one thing I like about 9 is the battle music. 9 and 10 have really good music. So, but, you know, I will give it to 6. 6 is great music, too. Like, I like Celis's theme, I like Terra's theme. You know, what really got me into, like, some of the games were... If you ever played Beat Rhythm Final Fantasy, that's such a great game. What's my opinion on it? I will say this. I think if you're a fan of the original, you'll probably love it. So, me, I kind of played it for a little bit. I don't know if I, like... The problem is, and this is from someone who has to buy their own games, I don't know if I want to buy that or spend money on my next meal. Like, that's like one of those things where it's like, do I not eat for a day and accept it, or... Yeah. To be upfront, I kind of want to say, personally, I think that Donkey Kong game is kind of Mario 64-ish. Like, when I look at the level design, it definitely feels like a Mario 64 game. Yeah, I would probably play the Pixel Remaster. You know, I wanted to do some karaoke shorts because I kind of enjoyed doing some of the shorts on. You know, I saw some decent views on those, so I wish I kind of wish there was a karaoke game now. You know, I like that the one karaoke thing. We almost hit an hour, guys. Should I go for hour 10 minutes? There actually is. There is a round one. In Tuquila. That's what I think it's called. Tuquila. That's like just right after the SeaTac airport. See, what's really great about Seattle, and I do stand by this, like, you know, Seattle has homeless issues like San Diego and LA, but to give Seattle credit, and I give major credit to Seattle for this, the transit system is fantastic. If you want to get from one part of the city to another, you can do it very easily. It's not a hard thing to do. It's very easy to do. Um, so, yeah. Barcade. Have I gone to that? You know, back when Street Pass Philadelphia was a thing, and I hung out with those people, they were way friendlier than the New York City crowd. I have to be upfront with you. I'm not the biggest fan. Like there are some New York people that are fine, but like, I did not like the Street Pass New York people. And I think, like, if anybody knew it, I didn't like the group leader. And basically, you had to worship Nintendo and buy bad Nintendo games because the group, like, yeah. The problem was I clashed with the group leader. We didn't see eye to eye on certain things. You know, look, I'm just gonna say it. Jordan's basically a dictator of Street Pass groups. He would constantly want to chime his opinion. You had to do what he said, and it's like, look, if you want to offer a group an opinion or advice, that doesn't mean they're gonna take it. And you have to tell that to him. And it just, you know, with him, he just felt like, you know, it was someone who tried to speak, but didn't know how to speak very. He was just very annoying. And also, there were things that creeped me out about him. Like, I have to be honest, like, I stayed one night at his place, and it creeped me out. Like, I have to be upfront. Like, he weirded me out. I didn't like him. I tried to be friendly. You know, this was definitely during the time that I wasn't out publicly. But even then, it's like, it felt like talking to someone who didn't understand where you came from. And I tried to be very accommodating, but it was just like, again, it was like talking to an alien. So, and, you know, there are things I definitely look back and I'm like, yeah, I take fault on certain things, but at the end of the day, it's like, no matter how I change myself around him or try to accommodate, there's a point I was like, no, we're not getting along. And, you know, unfortunately, oh, I'm sure. But to be honest, like, about that person you just brought up, that person's a wannabe. Like, I have to be upfront with you, they're never gonna be famous. They don't have the quality. They don't have, like, I saw their videos and I'm like, their first video definitely did great, but then you see, like, the decline in the views, you're like, ouch. So-and-so could have 100,000 views when he waited in line for the first switch. But it's like, when he ended up doing his vlogs, like, he definitely got some support. It's not like he didn't have support. He definitely had more support than I did. I'll give him that. But it's like, you look at it and you're like, that's not enough to have a career. Going from 0 to 5K subs, that's not enough for a career. It's not. You know? Ugh. That place smells really good. Oh my god, I'm smelling burgers. I'm getting hungry. I might play some Tomodachi Life tonight. Oh yeah, well, see, that's the thing, is like, if that person had collabed with that person at the launch line, then what's-his-face could have escaped wannabe status. But because he didn't have that kind of... Right, he was waiting by himself, that's not good, right? He was a lone ranger. Yeah. I'm not going to say the other person who helped what's-his-face was good, but at least that, you know, and they were controversial. But it's like, it's not even just that. It's like, you look at it and you're like, you know, at least with the first Switch launch line, you saw that there was actually like a congregate amount of people. You don't really see that with this other person. You're just like, what do they stand for? And they're like, oh, he's just a fan of this community that passed away and basically died off. And like, the idol is gone. And you're just like, wow, that sucks. And you're just like, but they don't have any, not even like iota or a quotient or a percentage of that person's like charisma or like ability, and you're just like, why are you even here? And it's just, you know, it's just how it is. Oh, I know, but let's be honest here. He's, you can't reach out to him, and he's basically gone off the deep end. That's just what happens, is some people just gone. My stomach. Oh, I agree. You know, mine has definitely taken a hit over the years, but I think the bigger takeaway is, like, he definitely screamed, like, he needs someone to talk to, and he just doesn't have anyone. And it's like, I wish I could be there for him, but, you know, if it was me and I was sitting next to that person, I would say, look, why don't you just play games you enjoy? Why don't you just try to enjoy something? Because, you know, you're not going to get everything you want that you once had back in your life, but at least you'll have something that you enjoy. I know that sounds depressing, and I know that sounds like... I know, you know, people always wish, and I do too, that they could transform or make something back to what it was before. And I still want that one day. Yeah. Wow. Oh my god, it smells. You know what I really miss? I kind of miss the early 2010s. Like, when Street Pass was really a thing. There are things I do wish that was like... I miss more 2011. Like, 2011 to, like, almost 14 was pretty much a golden age for me. Then 15 was kind of the dark year. I definitely think 2015 was a bad year. You know, the thing that definitely helped Nintendo was the 3DS. Like, that was definitely at least a decent selling console. I miss the 3DS days. Less so than the Wii U. I wish I could say I like the Wii U, but like, it's not that it's a bad console. It's just, it was poorly sold. Like, Wii 2 would have made sense than Wii U. Like, and like, I have to agree, like, when they named the console Switch 2, yes, like, at least that made sense from a selling, like, it's like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. The naming isn't, you know, creative in any way, but at least, like, you know it's the next iteration of console. Unlike Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, what were they thinking, Microsoft? At least the next console was Xbox X. ...2011 was great for the Wii. Yeah, 2011 was a good year for it. Like, I would say, technically 2010 was when Super Mario Galaxy 2 came out, and that was a really good game. I liked that game. I played it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to beat it, but I liked it. Well, thank you, Kalaka Boy. I appreciate that. So I do mean that. I'll probably get back on when I get home. I'll probably play some Tomodachi Life. You know, I'm just thankful, and hear me out. I'm just thankful that the stream has been very drama free. You know, I'm very thankful for that. Dubin. I really want to, but here's the problem with Switch 2. My Elgato isn't working right. So, you know what? If I do play it, I'm going to have to do it off my phone. So, it's going to look like garbage. There's nothing I can do. My Elgato is refusing to work. The TV isn't working with it. I have to tell you, the Elgato distorts. This Elgato is the capture card. I could try to buy a new one, but I don't have money. I have nothing. So I'll have to think about it. I don't know if I'm gonna have the resources to go. Oh my god, is that a PSP? That's a PSP! He's holding a PS. Look! Is that a PSP or a Vita? Do we know? Is that person holding a PSP or a Vita? Can anyone tell me? PSP or Vita? I want to see in the comment section. Does anybody know? Is this a PSP or it's a PSP? That's what I thought. I'm looking at it and it definitely looks like a PSP. You know, the PSP did do a decent pap. It was, you know, it wasn't a bad handheld, but I still prefer the DS. I mean, with the DS, it's like, especially 05, that was the year of the DS. You're talking about Mario Kart, Animal Crossing. I mean, that system had hit after hit after hit of game, and it's like you could tell we were in a full like brainstorming mode. I think that was the year that Advance Wars and Nintendogs, those were great games. Those were. I mean, the problem with Nintendogs is once you bought it, you kind of played for 3 months and then you dropped it. But you know, the 3 month drop, it wasn't that bad. Like, I will say, like, if Nintendogs was gonna improve on it. You like the Vita better? Oh, the Vita is definitely better than the PSP. That's obvious. It's a higher performing specs console. Well, handheld, but still. Oh. 3DS. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the DS definitely has some gems, some bangers, but like the 3DS, like I have to say, you know, Satoru Iwata did say it best when he said like content is king. And it's like when you have a game that has really good content that wants you to come back to it, that's something you want to go for. And so, I have to say, like, Awakening had the best DLC. And it's like, it's definitely like, I know people don't always like paying for DLC and maps, but like, I'd make a effort to, like, Awakening was a fantastic game, and it was affordable, and you could buy it, and you didn't feel guilty or ashamed. That's fun. So, well, the marketing was bad and the naming was bad. I mean, it basically takes from Xbox One. It's like, it sounds like an add-on rather than a new console. And To be honest, like when you look at the tablet and you look at the when you look at the tablet and you look at the you know, if you ask me what one of my favorite years of the 2010s, I'd say 2019. 2019 was a great year. You know, why do I say 2019? You know, I went back to school. I got to travel. I went to Canada. You know, like I look at 2019 and that was a year that I was like happy to be myself. I was no longer being bullied that year. I wish I could say the same about 2020. 2020, I got slapped in the face again. But at least 2019, I could feel happy that I was no longer the butt of jokes. I was no longer being targeted or harassed. And like that is the big reason why I like that year so much. And it felt like, you know, and I got paid back from that person that owed me money. And it's like I look back and like it closed a lot of chat. It gave me closure, is what I'm saying. There was things that were very negative building up over the 2010s, and I at least felt like, you know what? At the very least, I got closure from it. Unfortunately, certain fan bases will not ever give you closure, but you can at least give yourself closure, and that's what it made me happy. Do I feel sorry for certain fan bases and what happened to them? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's like when you're the one being targeted, when you're being harassed and you're being attacked by a hate mob, it's just like, it's not funny. And especially when a lot of it's homophobic, it's just disgusting and sad and shameful. And, honestly, I didn't really like that year. I did not like 2015. I almost like 2016 and even 17 better than 15. Like, I'm trying to think of something good at 15. Yeah, I got that Smash panel, but to be honest, like, why? Because that friendship with you-know-who soured. Like, that was like, 14 was already not, like, it started off okay, and then by the end of 14, I started to dislike him a bit. 15 really had me dislike that person. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not saying his name. They're just people I will treat like a Voldemort. I will just be like, you are Voldemort. I will not say your name. And, so, I think the important thing that take away from all of that is at least I got back on YouTube and stayed on, I guess. I mean, I'll say this about 2017. The aftermath might have been so good, but, you know, I really do stand by saying this. I did like some of my Switch launch line experience. Like, it wasn't bad. It's just a shame that that person, that we will also not say, was very negative towards me. And, you know, that was bound to happen. I think, like, I look back at it, like, it's like, the harshest lesson you learn, not just about yourself, but the world is, can you live after a traumatic event? And that's really what defines a strong person. Is like, if you can live after a traumatic event, it proves that you have the ability not just to move forward and move on with yourself, but also just keep living. Oh my God, look at this thing. I want to show you this. Look at that. Look at that. What am I at on? Okay, 35%. All right, I'm going to end it here, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. What did I learn? I learned to keep living despite all the misery in the world. That's all you can do. Anyway, bye.